Everyone gets stuck with coming up with new original ideas, something fresh. But today, I'm going to give you 5 ways to overcome that problem and get fresh, original melodies for your track. Let's go. Hey guys, Delby here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I've got an awesome video for you, and what we're going to do is talk about ways to use loops to overcome creative blocks and develop new melodic ideas for our tracks. Getting stuck is something that every producer experiences. Beginners, intermediates, pros, it doesn't matter. We all go through it. But I think something that separates the professional from the amateur is the ability to just keep pushing when those creative blocks come in, to just do the work anyway. But maybe that's easier said than done, which is why it's really important to have some techniques like this in your toolkit, so you can just use them when you need to. What we're going to look at is 5 techniques for taking a loop and creating something original out of it. In my opinion, loops are really great creative tools and perfect for this scenario when we're feeling a bit stuck. We feel like the creative juices are running a bit low. So what we're going to do is take these loops as inspiration, manipulate them, and come up with something new. As always, the project files are available, link in the description. It goes to my Patreon, where you can download the files. Patreon is one of the best ways that you can support me, support the channel, and make sure I keep bringing you these videos every single week. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get into Ableton and make some melodies. Alright guys, so here we are inside Ableton, and this is the project that I've put together to demonstrate how I use loops to help me come up with new ideas when I'm stuck looking for inspiration for melodic parts. So as I said in the intro, there's 5 techniques and we're going to run through them quickly. I'll just show you the loop that I've put together. Really simple. We've just literally got a simple backbeat here with a kick, clap, open hat, and a shaker, and then a couple of loops from my sample pack that I've thrown in. Link up here if you want to buy that. I've got a bass here made in wavetable. It's just a sub oscillator with a bit of tone, which is saturation. Then up 1 octave, we've got a sawtooth. Then I've got a 24 dB filter with a little bit of drive, and this is the envelope for the synth, and then this is the filter envelope, which is modulating the frequency cutoff, and it's by this much. So that gives the synth, the bass, a nice plucky tone. I'm sending that to a little bit of reverb and a little bit of delay. Here's the reverb, and here's the delay. And the drums, the drum bus is being sent at minus 25 dB to the drum reverb, which is this. Then the drum reverb is being ducked to the drum bus, which helps to add a lot of atmosphere, but make sure that they're not like swamped in reverb. This is all part of my standard template, and I've got a link to a video up here where I go through it. I'm going to do a refresher of that because I think there's a few updates been made and it's probably worth making a new video. Let's say we've got our loop going on and we're a bit stuck. So what I'm going to do is jump in and use some loops to help get us going. Right, so I've found this one here, and let's take a listen. So as we can see from the loop, it's in G minor. So our track is, here's the MIDI for the bass. So our track is in E minor, which means we're going to pitch that down by 3 semitones. So that's already changing the source sound a bit. I'm just going to copy this to a new track so we can A-B the before and after. And let's turn that on. All right, so we want to change the sound to kind of be our own, be a bit unique. One thing that's really cool from Ableton is the resonator. I'm in Berlin, so let's use the Berlin preset. And we can see here that this first note is set to G. So we're just going to turn that down to E and take a listen. Right, that decay's a bit long, so cool. And let's try some other things. Maybe I'll throw on a grain delay. Let's try this rush preset. So I'm just going to adjust the dry wet, so we've got the dry with a bit of wet. And I'll add an auto filter in here so we can control the frequency of this. And what I'm going to do is throw an echo in between, and I'll set this to maybe 1/16 and try ping pong. Bring the dry wet down a bit. So I might just put that to stereo. And then I'm going to put an erosion after this. And what I'll do is I'll just bring this decay back a bit more again. Turn this dry wet up. So it's not perfect, but we've got a sound now that's different to the loop that we were looking at. So I'll loop these, group these, and just move them here so I can cut out some of the lows. Give it a bit of compression to control the dynamics there. So the original. So that's one idea. On to the next one. We've got this loop here. And this is out of time. 127, and turn that to complex and turn that down a little bit. So, sounds pretty cool, but let's take it and put it into this simpler. And we're just going to have a look for one of these sounds that we can isolate. Maybe this here. And because it's E, I'm going to bring it down 4 semitones to put it to C. Now I should be able to play an E on my keyboard. Now we can use this to make our own pattern. Right, so let's just... Then we can just add a bit of reverb. And a bit of ping pong. Now let's turn on the filter on the synth, and we can bring that back a bit. Now we'll go to the effect controls and the simpler controls, and we'll hit envelope, turn on the filter envelope, add a bit of that, and now we can make it quite plucky with this. So this is what we had before. Now this is what we've got. Number 3 is extract MIDI from the loop. So we've got this loop here. Cool sound. What we're going to do is use this extract MIDI function. So we're going to hit convert melody to new MIDI track. This works. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. But what we're going to do is see if there's something that we can work with. So what's it come up with? Okay, let's take a look at this MIDI. Okay, so let's just bring it up so it's all closer to one another and have a listen to the original again. And I'll turn on this notes spectrum. The reason I did that is because it's got the pattern kind of right, but it's made a couple of mistakes. So this should be down here, and this should be one note. And what we could do, then this should be extended to here. I'll just go legato, so it'll bring that up to the edge of that note. And it looks like it does something like that. So let's have a listen. Okay, we've got an extra little note in there, which I think we don't want. That looks good. I'll go right click and crop clips. Then we're going to bring this down to here, where I've got another synth, because the Ableton one sounds pretty terrible. All right, so I'm just going to add my MIDI tools rack and drop that down by an octave. Bring the cutoff back a bit. Bit of sidechain. Now if I duplicate this, we can fix it up so that it plays properly. This should be happening like here, I believe. So it just takes a bit of finessing sometimes. MIDI extraction isn't perfect, but we'll just work with what we've got. Right. What I like to do with things like this is throw an extra filter on. So I use this to shape the sound and this for like automating. Pretty cool sound and super easy. Okay, so method number 4 is just to take the loop we've got here. and kind of try and recreate it as best we can. So let's have a look at the waveform and see what we can establish. So I can see that it's playing an E and a B. So I just put in a MIDI clip. All right, so the MIDI should be something like this. Nope, this. And then it's got a delay, which is happening at an 8th note, I believe. So let's throw in a delay. Set that to 8th note. That's what that little 2 means. We don't want ping pong. Turn it down a bit. Take away the feedback a bit. All right, got a pretty bland little sound there. So let's just chuck in a couple of sawtooths. And we'll reference the original sound again. Right, so we're playing pretty low. So we want it to hit around C1. Oscillator 1, I'm going to pitch it down by 24. So this one I'm going to go minus 17, which when we play an E, that's going to give us that B note on top. So let's pull the frequency back and we'll change the envelope a little bit. This is actually pretty similar to the bass patch that I made. Add a little bit of resonance and some pretty heavy distortion. And let's just add a little bit of reverb. Cut off some of the subs. Quite different, but similar vibe, you know, and we've just taken that loop that worked with the track and created something ourselves. We could mess around for as long as we want to try and get it as similar as the loop, or just kind of go with whatever works well for the track, and that's my preferred option. All right, so coming along to our last one, we've got edit the envelope. I've got this loop here. Let's just bring that down a bit. And this is actually at 172 BPM. So I'll just duplicate that. I think it must be a drum and bass loop. Let's have a listen. Change that to complex. If I duplicate that down and then let me unwarp it, and this is what it sounds like originally. So really cool loop, but obviously wrong for this track, right? What we've done is we've used the audio engine to bring it down into time with the track, and I'm using complex so it kind of sounds better and not so degraded. Let's have a listen to it with the track. So clearly we've already got a bass line and it's clashing with that, but being like 50 BPM lower and from something that's a different genre, you're already using something that's a bit more abstract to the style of music that you're making. We don't want it to clash with our original bass line, so I'm going to cut away a bit of the sub. I'm going to add a sidechain. So that part there is what I'm interested in. That's really cool, and that's going to sit up atop our bass line, and they're going to work together, I hope. All right, so how do we do that? Let's jump in here, go to clip, volume, and I'm going to hit B to get my pen tool. I'm literally just going to draw this out. And it looks like the same all the way through. Now what I like to do is zoom in here, hit Alt to take it off the grid, and just ease these transitions a little bit. That way we don't get any clicks. Then what I can do is actually just duplicate that. Now this is what we've got. So I might add a bit of reverb to that. Let's take a listen. So I just added a little bit of ping pong on the end. So you can hear this was our original source sound. And now our new sound. And in the track. That easy. But you know, we've done something original, we've changed it up, we've made it work with the track, and it's not something that everyone's just going to have and throw in their track. We can always go a step further by adding some effects, kind of making it even more unique. But the main thing is to make it cool, make it work with our track, and make it different, change it up a bit. Right, so I've got one bonus tip for you, which is using a technique from earlier, but on a different kind of more abstract sound source. So I've got this vocal loop here.
Don't get it twisted, if I lost it I would miss it, but I don't bet my roots so low. I like an exit before I wreck it.
So what I thought was that this kind of melody here of the loop goes quite well with what we've got. If I loop that, now let's listen.
I like an exit before I wreck it. I like an exit before I wreck it.
So what I'm going to do, crop that, loop it, and then go convert melody to new MIDI track. Okay, so let's take that up to here where we recreated the synth. Drop the MIDI on and just take a listen. I'll quantize it, turn off the delay. I'll add on the LFO. Oh, that should have come up here. Let's just delete that. So we're just going to edit the MIDI quickly if we need to. I'll add on some swing. So the melody of the vocal works pretty well with the track. Now we've got a melody with a synth that works quite well with the track. What I can do is throw on my MIDI tools, open up this and change it to E. Now this is just going to push any of those notes that aren't in the scale into the scale. Pretty cool, really easy, and you know, we've got something unique, we've got something original. All right guys, there you go. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you can see how these techniques can be used to overcome your creative blocks and just keep things moving, keep your track progressing. If you like this video and you're still looking for more inspiration, then check out this video I did on creative arpeggiator techniques. That's it for today guys, we'll catch you next time. Peace.